Now don't that look just perfect? Juicy. Perfect. Hey everybody. Today is a what's for dinner type of meal. I'm going to show you a meat, a vegetable, and so you can see, and we usually will put like another vegetable with it, but I want to show you the pork tenderloin that I've done for years. I used to follow, sorry that was my oven, I used to follow one lady. I'll have to put the link to her cookbook down below, but I used to follow her recipe about this, but instead of doing that, and now I just kind of do my own thing. And basically what you do is you buy a 2-pack, if you could find it in your local store, of tenderloin. I want to say it's Tyson. Yeah, it's Tyson. They sell it in a 2-pack. It only costs about $10 for both. And we are a family of 5, and our boys, you know, they eat a lot. So it takes both tenderloins for one meal. If it was just me and my husband, we'd probably just use one. So what I do is I get the tenderloins out, let them rest for a second. Then I go into my spice cabinet and I pick out the spices that I kind of want to do, and we do like a jar rub. So I'm just going to mix a few spices together. I'll let you know the spices I put together, then that way, you know, if you want to do that starting out when you first make this recipe, you can. And then next time, just put something in there that you like. Alright, so I take a little bit of chili powder, not much. This is not about making it taste like it's Mexican food or anything like that. Or any kind of, it's just you throwing some spices together. I use probably a couple tablespoons maybe. I'm going to put some paprika in it. When we do a lot of paprika, because we like that. So I would say probably 4 tablespoons, 3 or 4. Next thing, onion powder. We like that, so I put a good generous amount of that. Probably about 3 tablespoons worth. Some garlic powder, probably just 2 tablespoons. And I decided this time to add a little bit of parsley, so I'm gonna put that in too. Okay, and you can put the old standby salt and pepper in there too. Just don't go crazy if you're not sure if you're gonna like the taste of it. And we use light salt because we're trying to cut back on the sodium just a little bit. Alright, so you take a spoon, you kind of stir it all together, spoon, fork, whatever. You kind of combine your spices. And they're already ground up, so you don't have to put them in a grinder or nothing. Okay. Alright, let's set that aside for a second. Move your tenderloins over. This is what they look like when they come out of the package. I take a little bit of olive oil. You can use any kind of oil. It doesn't matter. Because all you need the oil for is to get the spices to stick to it. That's it. That's all you need it for. What I do is I kind of get the oil, coat the sides. It's not much oil, just a little bit. Just drizzle it just a little bit. Okay. Then I switch to a plate, dinner plate. And what we're gonna do is after we get these spices on here, we're gonna sear it in a skillet. And then it'll go in there. That means just kind of brown the outside just a little bit. And then we have a couple other steps, and then it'll be ready to go in the oven. Alright. So let me try to get just set up here just a little bit. So you can sprinkle it. Eventually, I put my hands on it, so just to make sure that it's sticking. Okay, so pat it, roll it over. it some more. Get the places that it didn't get the seasoning. Little simple dry rub. It's not anything. It's probably a little smoky because of the paprika and the chili powder. But it shouldn't be anything too complicated. I put this in a dinner plate to add the seasoning to it so that I can do exactly what I'm doing right now. All the excess, I just kind of, and it'll look just like this. It's all coated. All right, so leave it on your little plate and bring your next one over. All right, so what you want to do is take a skillet, put just a little bit of oil in here, in your skillet, and take tenderloin that you've already seasoned, set it in there. Now, you can do it when it's sizzling hot, or you don't have to. It should be fine. So while that one's getting ready and heating up, you need to come over here and start working on your second one. So you just repeat what you just did again. Sprinkle it on, pat it, roll it over, do it again. Now I am sure that you can get like a dry rub from Walmart or somewhere. You know, one of your favorite dry rubs. And do the same exact thing. You could probably also grill this, but it will probably have to be done slowly because eventually we're going to put this in the oven. Alright, so then you roll this around, make sure that you got everything. When my kids were little, we would only lightly do this because the spices were just a little bit too much for them. Now my pan's already starting to sizzle because I got it on high. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll set this one to the side for just a second. And we'll get the next step ready so you can see that. Okay, now you take it. Like I said, you're just searing each side. Sometimes I only sear just the two sides and that's it. It's not like a perfect size, and you don't have to keep cooking and cooking and cooking until it's all the way done because you're going to finish it in the oven. So what's going to happen is when this gets done, I'm going to put it in a baking dish that I sprayed with cooking spray. And then while these are cooking in the oven, I'm going to show you how to do some roasted red potatoes on the stove, and then that way you'll have a complete meal. Okay, so the final tenderloin is coming out. Like I said, we're just going to cook on that rub. And as you're, trying to get those braised and everything, you can add a little bit more oil if it's starting to stick. Let me move my skillet. If it's starting to stick again, you can add just a little bit more oil. Just don't go crazy. Alright, now for the last step before it goes into the oven. We put honey and garlic on it at the end. So it's kind of like a spicy, sweet kind of thing. So what I do is I use the minced garlic. It's just better if you just use, you can get already minced or you can mince it yourself. So you need about 3 heaping tablespoons. You better do 4. How about 4? How about 4 heaping tablespoons of garlic? Okay. And some honey. This is some locally grown honey from, where is it from? Terry Thomas, Oaks Bluff, Alabama. We got it at our local Tannehill State Park we go to. There's people there that sell it, honey that they do themselves. And this is like almost sugared, so I'm trying to get it going. Alright, about 3 tablespoons of honey. Okay, this is not exact, so if it's not 3 tablespoons of that and that, whatever, it's fine. Just at least have 2 tablespoons of each, because I know sometimes you don't want to run back to the store. You just like to use what's there. Alright, and I didn't drain the minced garlic or nothing. I used the juice off of everything, so you don't worry about any of that. Alright, so you mix it together. And you put it all over, and I wouldn't touch them, so don't kind of spread it on there, just kind of pour it on there, if that makes sense, because you don't want to take any of your spices off. You want all that to stay put. Now this is a lot of garlic, and sometimes I don't use this much, so if you don't use this much, don't. But you want to try to give it as much flavor as possible. Another good additive to some of this would probably be some lemon juice. That would probably be good too. Okay. Alright, so you do that, and then you just cover it in foil. I am so not ready. So cover it in foil. Cover it with foil and put it in a 375-degree oven. I don't know, probably about 45 minutes. You need to check it and then start checking it every 15 after that, because you don't want it to burn. And just take it out when you feel like it's done enough. That's it. And while this is cooking in the oven, we are going to start on our roasted potatoes. Okay, so now we're going to make some roasted red potatoes to go with this. You could also do some Brussels sprouts, that would be good. I would do the potatoes, the pork, and the Brussels sprouts. Tonight we're just going to do some green beans, but I'm going to show you how I do my roasted red potatoes. It is not hard at all. So get your pan hot. Go ahead and get your oil in there. And no, it doesn't have to be olive oil. And I don't know if you can see it or not. So I like to get the 3-pound bag of red potatoes. It's the ones that most people use in like crab bowls and stuff like that. Now you don't have to get that. But I'm trying to leave the peel on. That's my goal. So I'll probably end up making probably this whole bag. So what I do is I just cut them into cute little fat wedges, just like that. Now some of these potatoes are too big for that. Like for instance, this one. I just do the best I can to make it as cute as possible. But with it being so big, you're gonna have to worry about it cooking all the way through and cooking at the same time. So you probably need to cut it like that. Cut it and cut it, cut it. You know, you're just gonna have to cut it down just a little bit smaller. And I would just go ahead and throw them in the pan. That. These are a little bit bigger. Okay. And then when they come out is when they will get seasoned. You can just do plain salt and pepper. You could do some garlic salt or garlic powder. Have to be careful with both of those because it's probably overwhelming. Garlic flavor in them. So you just have to be careful on how much you're adding. You don't want to ruin them. So just try to cut them up best you can. Get them ready to go. And my pan's already starting to heat up. See typically what I do is I get them like good and fried, and then I scale back on the heat because I don't want them to burn and they're not done all the way. So that's why I do that. You could also coat them in oil and seasoning before you put them in the skillet. I've done that before too. I've even seen people boil these first, but to me, they're not going to take long to cook. I don't see the point in boiling them first and then frying them. You could also do a baked potato with this tenderloin instead of any kind of roasted potatoes. That would work too. So we're a family of 5 right now because our daughter moved out. So 3 pounds is enough for dinner, probably a lunch for my husband to take to work, and a lunch for my boys. Okay, so the potatoes are finished. What you need to do is cook them up on high for a good while, 15-20 minutes, and then cut them down low on about, not simmering, but just a low heat, and put your lid on it, or some sort of cover, and let them cook like that on low for a little while until you can finish getting them ready. We're going to be using this. I really needed buttery steakhouse seasoning, but I couldn't find any. This will work. It's not as good, but it'll work. So generously sprinkle. If you've got a garlic and herb seasoning, because that's really what I really needed and I didn't have it, that would probably be the best thing to use. Let me open this up and do it this way. Because you gotta be very generous with it, because you want to stir it and get it all, coated all the way around. Okay, and we'll put a little bit of onion powder. On them. Okay, and it's to your liking. So if you want tons of it, put tons of it. If you don't, then don't. A little bit of pepper. And then on our potatoes, I like to put kosher salt instead of granulated. But you could put cracked, I guess. And we'll put a little bit of dry parsley. Okay, so just lightly stir around the pan. And by the way, the heat is not on, so these are done. And that's it. Roasted red potatoes, and they're perfect for any meal. And I'll show you everything at the end when we place everything together. But as soon as I get these dished up, I'm going to show you how the tenderloin turned out. Okay, so the tenderloin is done. We cooked it in our oven, remember that? And I loaded it down with way too much garlic. So and then this has been sitting out for a few minutes. So here you go. That's what it looks like.